All work and no play makes Joe not have time for YouTube videos. Hello everyone, Joe, aka Enigma5469, and I am back with my Elimination Chamber review. My first fun little fact here, my first WWE pay-per-view that I ordered since WrestleMania 24. Yes, it has been that long. That's what happens when you go to a lot of independent shows in between there. Anyway, let's get to it. First match was the Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship. The Miz versus Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler, CM Punk, R-Truth, and Chris Jericho. Now, unfortunately, was not able to make a predictions vid, so I'll just mention my predictions beforehand. I obviously predicted CM Punk to win because, as everyone knows, especially since Raw happened last night, it's going to be CM. Oh, spoiler alert for those who haven't watched Raw. But anyway, CM Punk will be defending his title against Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. Started off CM Punk and Kofi Kingston. Nice little back and forth action here. I had to laugh, though, because if anyone saw it while they were doing these little exchanges, Dolph Ziggler in his chamber pod doing some chin-ups. Very funny in my opinion. CM Punk slingshots Kofi Kingston into the pod and then suplexes him onto the steel grate. Dolph Ziggler's in next and Fireman carries CM Punk onto the steel grate. Then he hits a nice, once again, does his little workout on the chamber and then drops a leg drop onto CM Punk on the steel. Nice. Then he hits a stinger splash on Kofi, goes to hit it on Punk but misses. And then in a nice little moment here, both CM Punk and Kofi go for a springboard attack on Dolph Ziggler. Instead, Ziggler ducks, and CM Punk and Kofi hit in a nice midair collision. Next is R-Truth, and he hip tosses Ziggler over the top rope. By the way, watching another one of my favorite reviewers, D. Mark Pearson, and by the way, I totally agree with him on the stand that Ziggler reminds me a lot of Mr. Perfect back in his heyday. Just the way he takes bumps is very good. Next, a scissor kick gets two for Ziggler, or gets two on Ziggler, and then a turnbuckle as R-Truth climbs to the turnbuckle. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, trying to get this through a little fast. R-Truth goes up to the top rope, and CM Punk hits a nice knee to the face while Punk's on the top rope, and then a superplex gets two. Unfortunately, R-Truth is then eliminated via a Randy Macho Man Savage flying elbow tribute by CM Punk. A little shocked there that Truth was the first one eliminated, but then again, not too shocked considering WWE hasn't really handled Truth all that well in my opinion since he came back. I like the crazy heel better. Next, Trouble in Paradise hit on CM Punk. Only gets a 2 count, however. And then Kofi Kingston, in my opinion, with the spot of the match, well, one of his spots of the match, hits the old Spider-Man cling to the fence and then turns it into a tornado DDT on Ziggler to perfection. Then Miz is in next, hits his turnbuckle clothesline on Punk, and body slams Kofi Kingston onto the steel. A snap DDT by The Miz gets a 2 on Punk, and then as CM Punk has Miz in the Anaconda Vice, which Miz tapped to, by the way, last and the Raw before Elimination Chamber. However, Chris Jericho is the next entrant, and Punk lets go of the hold. Let's see if that comes back to bite him. Let's see. Anyway, Lion Salt by Chris Jericho gets a 2 on Punk. A roll-up by Ziggler gets a 2 on Chris Jericho, and then Ziggler just runs straight into a nasty code breaker, eliminating Ziggler from the match. CM Punk with another slingshot maneuver over the top rope, this time onto Jericho. And then in another pretty nasty spot, Chris Jericho traps CM Punk in between the chamber and one of the pod doors and just slams the door onto Punk in a rather nasty maneuver. However, Daniel Bryan tops that in the Elimination Chamber match for SmackDown, but we will get to that in a few minutes. SOS, and then in another nasty spot, SOS by Kofi Kingston onto Chris Jericho on the steel that, let's face it, didn't benefit anyone in that nasty fall. Miz tries to steal the cover, however, only gets a 2 count. A powerbomb then on the Miz gets a 2 count, and then Kofi Kingston with a beautiful looking crossbody off the Elimination Chamber pod onto the Miz and CM Punk, however, only gets a 2 count on the Miz. Chris Jericho then locks in the walls of Jericho to eliminate Kofi Kingston, and then in another weird spot, in my opinion, however, I think it was pretty well done, Chris Jericho attacks Kofi Kingston afterwards. By the way, his Walls of Jericho on Kofi Kingston was sort of a mix between the Walls of Jericho and the Lion Tamer, so it was pretty cool to see that. Anyway, attacks Kofi after being eliminated, throws him out of the chamber, and then CM Punk roundhouse kicks Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho takes a pretty nasty fall out of the chamber and knocks his head off some of the equipment. Referees deem that he is unable to continue, which leaves the match down to CM Punk and The Miz. CM Punk with a roundhouse kick to Miz only gets a 2 count, and then the Shining Wizard Bulldog combo only gets a 2, and then CM Punk goes for the springboard clothesline. However, the Miz counters and hits the skull-crushing finale. Is it over? No, only a 2 count, obviously. And then Punk dodges a Miz move. I don't remember what it was. And then hits the GTS for the 1-2-3. Your winner at 32 minutes and 39 seconds, CM Punk. Very good match for Raw, in my opinion. A little bit bummed that this wasn't the main Elimination Chamber match. Am I the only one who's a little bit bugged that WWE always has to... I'm not sure they've always done it, but ever since the Elimination Chamber became a pay-per-view, even when they did it at No Way Out, is anyone else sort of bugged by the fact that they always have one of them start off the pay-per-view? I understand that they should have matches in between to to not have them back to back, but still, do we really have to have one of the Elimination Chamber matches as the first on the pay-per-view? Anyway, 3.5 stars on this one. Very good match to open the show. Next, we get not a few, but a few segments. Santino does his best Rocky impression as he tries to drink raw eggs. A little bit entertaining, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it didn't stop there, and we got more of those segments throughout the night, which they could have just shown them all, in my opinion, like in a row, like during a montage or something, and it would have been better than having to see them all through the night. Then we also get a video of Cena doing some training, some cameos by FCW wrestlers, including one Seth Rollins, aka Tyler Black, and Xavier Woods, who many TNA fans remember as Consequences Creed. Sort of nice to see them. Next match we have is the Divas Championship match, Tamina Snuka versus Beth Phoenix. Right off the bat, Tamina Snuka goes for the Superfly Splash. However, Beth knocks her off the apron, and she takes a pretty nasty fall, in my opinion, for a woman's match. Next, but Tamina comes back, however, and hits a Samoan drop on Beth Phoenix, followed by a superplex. Next, a pretty good super kick by Tamina, and Phoenix, with the big moment of the match, she gets hit with the Superfly Splash. People think it's over. 1, 2, nope. Kicks out before 3 count. A little bit shocking, however, the way the match was going. I didn't see her getting beat. Anyway, ending comes with Beth Phoenix hitting the Glam Slam. Gets the pin at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. Now, I might get shit on this rating. However, I thought this was a pretty good match for it being a WWE Divas match, especially with the shit you see sometimes, not only on TV, but pay-per-view wise with the Divas. I gave this one 1.5 stars because I am a nice individual. Next, another Rocky promo with Santino Marella. Next, John Laurinaitis and David Otunga come out for a little segment. All I'm thinking is, come on, I forked over money for this. This should have been on Raw, the so-called Super Show, which isn't really super. I don't know why they still have the brands. Makes no sense anymore. But John Laurinaitis and David Otunga come out basically saying how, one, there should be one general manager for both Raw and SmackDown, and John Laurinaitis should be it. This brings out Del Rio, who actually gets a pretty decent face reaction. However, Del Rio, of course, is the heel, so he comes out and trashes Teddy Long, gives his support to Johnny Ace, the EVP of Talent Relations. Next, out comes Mark Henry. He also trashes Teddy, and actually in a pretty funny moment that made me laugh at least, calls Teddy Long a bully. Ironic! Next, Christian comes out, and he gets a definite face reaction, regardless of who or what his character is. However, he also trashes Teddy. Basically, all three of them come out and give their support to Johnny Ace. Once again, this didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. However, they did need to kill time considering there was only 5 matches. Next, another Santino Marella promo, and I am thinking, for the love of God, show a damn match. And we get the match. However, I am going to start part 2 of my vids, and we will pick it up there. I will see you all in a few.